Hey Bookaholics, welcome to another video. So today I'm doing my August wrap up and my currently reading video. So I read a few books this month. The beginning of August I read actually a lot more than the end, mostly because during like the August long break I had a family reunion. I listened to some audiobooks while I was sleeping in the tent, and I was listening to it when my aunt and uncle were driving there in the motorhome, and I listened to some while I was just waiting for food, or if none of my family were around, I listened to it. So I read a few more in audiobooks. I also read some physical books there, which I love the physical books I brought because I just loved it so much. And when I got home, I was getting back into work, and I just kind of slipped down in reading as much. So most of these I read during the beginning of the month, and then I read a few more, but not too much. So let's just get right into the August wrap up. So the first book I read, I started it in July, but I didn't finish it in July. I finished it in August. This one is called Daughters of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, I believe. And I read it through audiobook because, as I said in one of my videos of cutting books out of my TBR, this is one of the ones that I was like on the fence about cutting out because I did kind of want to read it, but I didn't really want to buy it and like actually go out of my way to get it. So I was thinking maybe I'd read it in the library, but at the same time I wasn't really all that interested in reading it, like actually having the physical book in my hand, but I wouldn't mind reading it through audiobook. So I did get an audiobook. I finished it as that, and it was about a 3 out of 5 book for me. It wasn't the greatest. Like, I really did want to enjoy it because so many people really loved this book. But there was just, I really liked it at the beginning. Like, I was really, really enjoying it. And then it got to the point where all the past of the main character and the person she was interested in, kind of the past of that came up. And then it just kind of, I wasn't really all that interested in that past at all. I don't know why. Like, it was very interesting to hear about it, but I just wasn't invested in it as much once that past came up. And it was just so weird having like following these two characters and then it just going into another set of characters, and it was just, I didn't like that aspect of it, and it just really took me out of the book that I was just like, I want to get back to the original characters. I do. And it just took a while for it to get back into the original characters, and I did not like that. I actually did try reading the second book. I got it as an audiobook too, but it went into that same past again, and I was like, I really didn't want it to do that once we figured out what the past was in the first book, and then we were going back into the past again for other information. I stopped and I actually DNF'd that book because I was just kind of done with it, and I don't think I'm gonna get back in that series. So I'm so glad I didn't actually buy the series. I'm glad I was able to figure out if I would want it or not, and I figured that through getting it from audiobook from the library. So yeah, that is the first book I finished in August, and I am not going to continue the series. Now, the second one, I've been wanting to read this one so much, and I brought it on to the family reunion because I was like, I really want to read it, and it seems like such a kind of like beach read and like a summer read that I really wanted to take it with me, and I did, and I read it, and then I let someone borrow it after I read it because they saw me reading it and they asked what it was about and they were interested, so I finished it at my family reunion, and then my cousin borrowed it. And she has brought it back to my auntie's house because that's where she was, and she's like, you can just grab it from my auntie's house since I'm not going to see you. So it is at my auntie's house right now, but not with me physically. So we are having to put it up here, and that was Geekerella by Ashley Poston. I ended up giving this one a 4 out of 5. Oh wait, no, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was so adorable. I loved it so very much. Like, it followed the Cinderella story more than I thought it would. Like, it's a modern Cinderella story. It is. And it followed a lot of stuff that went in the Cinderella Disney version of it, and I just loved it. I loved it so much. It was so cute, and I loved the two characters. I loved, damn it, what's her name? I can't remember what her name is. So I loved Elle and Darian's. Like, I loved how it went back and forth between those two two characters, and I just fell in love with Elle and I fell in love with Darian because they were just so nerdy, and I just loved it. And I loved how Elle didn't really know that. She had to learn that about him through the way they were able to communicate through text messages and even a phone call at one point, and it's just, I loved it so much. And I even loved how there's glass slippers involved and all this stuff, and I really liked how the evil stepsister, well, I won't say anything because that's spoilers. So I just really, really, really loved it. And if you love like anything that's like a Cinderella kind of story, like whether it's movies, books, or anything, pick this one up because this one is definitely a Cinderella in the modern times of just a bunch of geeks and nerds and people who love all these stuff. Like, one of the things that Elle was really, really obsessed with was something that's kind of like Star Trek and Star Wars. So, like, if you like those kind of stuff and you want to relate to that, you can definitely relate to this book. So, yeah, I really liked it. It was 4.5 out of 5 stars to me, and I'm just like, it's so cute. I loved it so much, and I wish I had it to show you guys. I wish I had it in my hands again, but it's not at my house at the moment. The next one I read, it was also during this, the August long family reunion thing. I brought it with me because I've been wanting to read this one in the summer, and I was like, you know what's a great excuse but having 4 days off in a row and hanging out with family in times when they are on their own with their families and doing other things and I just don't want to do it, and then I can be myself and read. So I brought this, read it in one day, just like the other book I read of this author's, but it was so good and I gave it 5 out of 5, and that book is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. This book, oh my god, I loved it so much. I was able to relate a lot with the main character, Molly Perkins. Like, oh my god. Wait, was that her last name? Peskin. Molly Peskin. So I was able to relate a lot with Molly Peskin because I went through some of the same things as her during high school because I wasn't like a skinny person in high school, and I was able to relate with that with Molly because this one follows that girl, and I just related to it a lot through that perspective, and I really liked how this author took the perspective of a more fat and chubby girl because there's not many representatives of those girls in books with the main character. So I really, really liked it, and I love the love interest. I love the two love interests that kind of come in, and it's just really adorable. And the other aspect of this is that her sister, twin sister, is a lesbian, or is he bisexual? I can't remember. And she meets a girl who catches her eye, and then Cassie, her sister, is more invested in hanging out with her new girlfriend than her twin sister, and her twin sister feels left out. And then there's another boy and another boy who come in, and I really, really enjoyed this book. 5 out of 5, read it in one sitting. Well, not quite one sitting, because I was at a family reunion, so I was like going back and forth, but this was like the day that we were leaving that I started this book. Started in the morning, kept reading it, and I couldn't put it down, and then I finished it, I think, on the way home. I think I finished it when we were driving back home. It was either I finished it while we were riding home or I finished it that night when I got back. I can't remember. I can't really remember, but I know I finished this one sitting and I just really, really enjoyed it, and I will definitely be reading this one again, just like Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. Loved it that much. The next book I did read in August is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, and I was kind of hesitant about this book because I wasn't too sure how I would like it. I know a lot of people absolutely love this book, and I was just like, I'm not too sure if I'll like it. So I got an audiobook through the library, and I actually really like this book. I think, what did I give it? I actually gave this book 4 out of 5 rating because I actually really, really enjoyed it. I wasn't too sure what it was about when I went into it. Like, I had absolutely no idea. I think I read the synopsis at one point, but I completely forgot what that was, and I was like, you know what, a lot of people like this book, so let's just get it through the library and see how it goes. And I read it in a couple days through audiobook, because I read it when I was either sleeping or, well, going to sleep, or at other times during the family reunion, and I just really, really liked it. It surprised me. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and by the end of the book, I was like, whoa. feels like someone's just like putting their ear against my door to hear me, and it's really making me nervous. Okay, what was I talking about? I totally understand why a lot of people like this book, and I believe Jesse the reader is like obsessed with this book. Like, he has so many different copies of it because he just loves it that much. And I was nervous going to this because I was like, I don't know if I will see the hype. I don't know if I'll like it as much as people do, but I did give it a 4 out of 5, so I did really enjoy it. And it's one that actually surprised me. I had no idea what was going on until like actually got to the big revelation. I was like, what? That is crazy. And yeah, if you like kind of like a mystery that will surprise you and you just never know what's actually going on until it's like revealed, definitely read this book. It is very good, and it surprised me a lot. I wasn't too sure how I would like it, but I actually really love this book. And I wasn't too sure if I would, and I kind of went in there blind. I had no idea what this book was going to be about, but I ended up really enjoying it. And if you're not 100% sure if you will, I highly recommend the audiobook, because then you can really start getting invested into it rather than forcing yourself to open the book and read it. You can just listen to it while you're doing other things, and it helped me a lot to read it, especially since it's one that it seems you have to really concentrate, and I was at the family reunion, as I said, and it would have been hard to concentrate on this book, I think, if I was reading it in physical form. So just a thought. The next book I read, again, also an audiobook, and that one was The Distance Between Us by Casey West. Now this one, a lot of people really like this author and have read a lot of stuff of hers, and I was just like, you know what, let's just give Casey West a try and try her audiobook that's available at the library, and I did, and I really actually liked it at the beginning. Like, it was really cute, and I liked the wit between the two main characters, and I really enjoyed that. But as the kind of mystery unfolds and all this stuff happens, and then closer to the end, it just seems to be rushing through what was actually the revelation, and it just didn't hit its mark at all, and I was just like confused and just like, why? And it just like, everything just fit so well together that it just didn't actually make sense. Like, it was just so convenient. It was just like such a convenient thing to happen, and I was just like, it just didn't actually seem like a thing that would actually happen. Like, it just seemed way too convenient, way too like put together, that just puzzle piece just didn't quite fit, even though it was supposed to. And it just didn't hit its mark. And actually, I would probably, if the ending was different, I probably would have given this a 4 out of 5 stars. But because the ending was rushed and it didn't quite hit where I thought it would, I ended up dropping it down to 3 out of 5 stars, because I did enjoy the beginning. I did really enjoy the characters and the wit and all that stuff, but as it kept going and the puzzles were being put together, it just lost my interest and lost what it built at the beginning. So it dropped it down to a 3 out of 5 stars. Didn't quite hit what I wanted it to, so the ending just like completely ruined it for me. The next book I read after that was Your Welcome Universe by Whitney Gardner. Now this one I was actually really excited about because it has a deaf main character, and I was very interested to see how the author was able to present that through here, and didn't hit its mark at all. In my review of it, what did I write at the beginning? Yeah, at the very beginning of my review, I wrote, great premise, poorly executed. Because it just, the writing just was not good. Like, the descriptions, like, I know, like, it's not describing, like, hearing or anything like that, but, like, there were just times where I was confused of what was going on, and the writing just wasn't very good. I really did enjoy the art, which actually brought it up to a 2 out of 5 stars rather than a 1, because I just did not enjoy this book. Like, I enjoyed it to a point where it was okay, but then the character, like, I just had no idea why the character was doing what she was doing. Like, she was just making so many mistakes, but these mistakes were made with absolutely no point to them, it felt like. Like, I'm not gonna say what it was, but the character just made so many petty mistakes. Like, she was angry about some things that her friends are doing, which, yeah, she was betrayed at the very beginning by her best friend, but, like, the things she did because of that betrayal, like, the way that she took it, and the way that she handled it, and the way that she justified herself doing these things was just made no sense to me, and I just did not like the character. Like, I eventually just did not care for her, and I didn't care where she was going. By maybe the middle, or just past the middle of the book, I just wanted to get this book over with. Like, I wanted to see what happened, but I really didn't care. I really did not care what happened. I just kind of was going through the motion of reading it and seeing what happened. And some points just made no sense, and I had no idea why there were some things happening, why they forgave each other, why all this happened, and I just did not care for it. So I ended up gave it 2 out of 5 stars, because it wasn't what I was expecting from this book. And it is getting dark in here. The sun is going behind the clouds, and I'm so sorry it's getting dark in here. So the last book I read this month, it was kind of a combination of audiobook and physical book, because the audiobook was available at the library, but I also had this book in physical form, and I wanted to reread it. Now, I've read this book a while ago. I really do enjoy this book. It's not one of my favorites of hers. Oh, it's getting light out again. Yay! But it was one of my first ones that I read of hers, and I actually really loved this book when I first read it, and I still like it. I'm glad I reread it, because I honestly couldn't remember everything that happened in this book. I couldn't. And rereading it again, I was able to, like, remember what happened, but there's times where I thought other things happened in this book, and it actually didn't happen. I was like, yeah, she wakes up, like, next to the gate or something when she's waking up from the crash at the beginning. Yeah, that didn't happen. She actually woke up at a hospital, which makes sense. But, yeah, that's what I remembered is that she woke up beside a rock next to a gate. I don't know why I remembered that. I think that was from another book or something, because that did not happen in this book. But the book that I reread was Remember Me by Sophie Kinsella. Now, this one was, as I said, one of the first books I read of Sophie Kinsella, and was kind of the start of my obsession of reading all her books, besides the Shopaholic series. I tried reading the first one, but I love the movie so much that I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. So this is the first book I read of Sophie Kinsella's, and I still like it. I don't love it as much as I did when I first read it, when I was in, like, grade 10, I think. So not quite my absolute favorite or loved it so much anymore, but I still like it. I still really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and yeah, I do like it. I read it in between, like, the audiobook and the physical book, as I said, and I actually really liked, I don't know which one I like better, because I really like the audiobook, because then you can hear, like, the actual accent of the person who is the main character, which I really like, but also like reading it through my head as well, because it has a different connection to, like, different aspects of the book. Audiobook creates a different kind of atmosphere as you're listening to it while reading it. You're able to more picture stuff going on in your head, but yeah. I don't know what else to say. But this one follows Lexi Smart, who gets in a car crash, as I said before, and she wakes up with 3 years of memories lost. So she doesn't remember the last 3 years, and everything is different. She used to be, like, a low person on the totem pole at her work. She was dating a really big jerk named Loser Dave, and what else was it? Yeah, she didn't like the way her teeth looked. She didn't like many aspects of herself. And then she wakes up, new skin, new hair, new teeth, new husband, and new job, and new place to live. And yeah, she wakes up, actually married a millionaire. And she's like, I have no idea how I got into this life, but I absolutely love it and I cannot lose it. And then she kind of learns some stuff about herself that happened, and yeah, a lot of things happen in this book that I really enjoy, and I loved rereading it again because, as I said, there were some things that I thought happened in this book that actually didn't happen. I think it's a memory from either what I pictured when I was reading this book, and I have no idea why I pictured that, or if it was from a totally different book that I just kind of put in here that I thought happened but didn't. So yeah, that is the last book I read in August. Now, I'm currently reading 2 books for September, and I'm really excited about these books because one of them I haven't read. Like, I've been wanting to read it, but I just been avoiding it because I'm just like, once I read it, it's over and I have to wait for the next book, and I just didn't want to do it. But I finally picked it up and I am just loving it so far. I love it so much, and I'm just like so excited where it's going, and I'm just like over halfway done. But that one is Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Oh my god, I'm just loving this book so much. Like, everything that I want is happening, and it's just like, it's amazing. Like, there's things that I just like didn't even think about that's happening, and there's things that I was hoping would happen that is, and I'm just like, I'm in love with it. I'm not going to say anything about it because spoilers, but it's just amazing. And I know I haven't done like a review of a book for a while, but I'm actually making notes for this one. So I'm hoping once I get this done, I will have a review for you guys out, just like I did for Lady Midnight. But I'm just loving this book so far, and I'm just like so excited to see what else is happening because, again, I said I'm about over halfway done, and I'm so excited for it. So yeah, that is one of the books I'm currently reading. Next book I'm reading is also an audiobook from the library, and I thought this one was going to be really cute, so I'm glad I actually got it because it is. But that one is Meant to Be by Lauren Morrill. It's actually really good so far. I really enjoyed it. It's like one of those kind of cheesy chick flick ones, and I just love those movies because those movies are my fave. But this one is so cute. So the main character, what's her name? I cannot remember people's name. Like, I'm just reading this and I still can't remember one of their names. So Julia, the main character, she is on a London trip with her classmates during like a spring break or something, and they're in London doing like different educational visits to museums and stuff, and she is partnered with someone she hates named Jason, who she's just not a fan of, and they get partnered as like buddies, and he convinces her to go to this party, and then after this party she gets text from a random stranger that she can't remember meeting at the party, and then Jason apparently will be taking her different places and rule breaking because she's a rule follower all the way, but in London she's trying to be someone she's not, kind of, and she wants to have more adventure and more experiences, and she wants to get help from Jason by helping her be more attractive to this person over the text messages phone. That sentence made no sense, but you guys know what I mean. So yeah, this one is really cute so far. I just love these kind of cheesy chick flick kind of books and movies, and if you guys enjoy chick flick kind of books and movies, this one is definitely for you, and I think you guys will enjoy it. That is all that I'm currently reading. That is all that I read in August, and yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below all the books that you guys are currently reading or the books that you read in August. I would love to know. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Check out my other social media accounts on my Facebook, Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram. I make a video every Thursday, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye!